All right, welcome back to the show. On today's episode, we're going to have Tayiha. She is a recording artist, currently has a single out called What I Needed. So be sure to look out for that coming up. But before we jump into today's episode, we're going to hear a word from today's sponsor. All right, welcome back to the show. Today we have an exciting special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tayiha. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Brisbane, Australia. So, yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Doing good. Enjoying the cold weather we're having.
It's very hot where I'm at, so I'm jealous.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the music industry.
Yeah, so I've sort of always been doing like songwriting and performing since I was like 6 years old. So, and then I wrote my first song when I was about 8, and just sort of was something that kind of came natural to me. It was, I don't know, it's something I've always been interested in doing, and performing has always been sort of a dream. And so I started gigging when I was a kid, but kind of started doing it more professionally when I was about 16. So, but yeah, it's just always kind of been what I've been doing.
So I know you're still in the beginnings of your career, so to speak. But what would you say the most inspiring thing to kind of get you into the industry to be where you are now would be, whether it be another music artist or?
I definitely have a lot of people that I sort of looked up to as a kid, like Jordan Sparks, Alicia Keys, and that definitely sort of influenced my music style. But I think when it comes to industry, I mean, make music, and it just happened to turn into a career. So I guess I was sort of thrown into the industry hobby, I guess. So, but yeah, I'm always trying to keep it still like have a passion for it and still keep it like it's a hobby, but it's also work and it's also like an industry and a very competitive industry. But kind of stay in my own lane and do my own thing with it. So yeah.
And that's very cool. You know, all those names are really huge artists, and you know, I think that they all bring something different to the table that, you know, if you kind of, well, if you're into the music as far as being able to understand why certain things are the way that they are, you're able to pick that kind of thing up and kind of use some of it to your own style.
I mean, I get influenced by things I listen to like every day, like whether that's like what's on the radio or like sort of underground artist, and it sort of just influences my music and influences the way that I write and the genre that I like to incorporate like all sort of different genres. I don't know, so it definitely has a big influence on me.
So have you written any of your own songs? I noticed you have one that you're going to be coming out at some point in the near future.
Mm-hmm. I write all my music, so yeah, pretty much every song I've put out is written by me, and then produced by my producer Stuart Stewart, and then obviously like the music videos I have help by my videographer Connor. So it's a pretty small team, but with the songwriting process, it's sort of what I do, and it's my side of things. But.
So what would you say goes into you making a song?
What goes into me making a song? It's just sort of, it's like I just sit down with my piano and just write about what I'm going through at that point in my life, and just put in like personal experience. And I think that kind of puts it all together. I feel like if you don't relate to a song, you know, performing it's not going to be as fun, and performing it's not going to be as emotional, and you're not going to engage the audience as much. So I think when it comes to just making a song, it's just about, you know, adding your personal sort of style to it, and talking about stuff in your life, because a lot of people, I'm sure, can relate to things that I go through. So it's really important to sort of keep it for myself and relate to what I'm doing, but also put it out so that other people can relate to what I'm going through. So.
Right, and you're right there. I mean, music touches some people in different ways than others, and you know, a lot of it is there's a connection there, whether it be a good memory or a bad memory.
100%. And I don't mind if, you know, people, you know, cry to my music or like are really happy with my music. I just, at least they're feeling something, you know what I mean? Like whether it's a negative feeling or a positive feeling, at least they're feeling something when they listen to it. So it's a win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. You know, I would imagine in being an artist would be to have that connection, regardless of what the connection is, because we all go through, like you said, some of the same things that you do.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that would be like top tier. What I want to achieve in life is just to have like listens to my song right now, and then in like 20 years time, feel those exact feelings that they felt in like this moment. And I think for a lot of artists, that's what they want.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things too where you can connect with that specific artist in such a way that when you hear their song, it takes you back to where you were, what you were doing. You know, it's one of those things where we all deal with stuff, and the fact that you're able to put yours in music form for everyone to hear is a tremendous thing, I think, just because it, you know, I would imagine it takes a lot of courage to do that, because then you got to get out and you got to promote and you got to sing it, and you know,
Definitely, it's weird to sort of put your own sometimes, but I mean, even if I had like no one listening to my music, I feel like I'd still make music, and I just release it because this is their way of dealing with stuff. When I was a kid, was listening to music and listening to artists and relating to music, and I know that music is so big, like just to everyone listens to music, you know, whatever. So it's a pretty big blessing to like be able to put that out. And I think everyone sort of puts out stuff in a creative way, whether, you know, you could be like the most unmusical person, but there's something in your life that you're going to do that's going to influence other people. It doesn't need to be music related, but
that's exactly right. I mean, you know, there are things that go on in our daily lives that, you know, people get moved by, and sometimes it's the smallest things, and that's what I feel makes us good human beings, is being able to not necessarily make people feel a certain way, but be able to impact somebody's life, hopefully in a positive way.
Yeah.
So I am curious, what artist have you worked with, if any?
I've worked with like in the industry, but I've with someone. I'm hoping to like collaborate a lot more, like probably a few, but at the moment I haven't collaborated with like anyone on a song, but it's definitely like a goal of mine. But with like collaboration, just like with music that we don't put out, music that's just like for myself, or music that's just, I guess, just musicians playing together. Like, I went to school. I was involved with a lot of people that of all different, ranges of music, and producers and people who wanted to be producers, DJs and songwriters, and people who play guitar and piano. And I remember like one time my friends and I went into like this little studio thing, and we just like messed around and played around. And I think it's really good to sort of do that for you, and do that involve other people. That's not just let's put out, let it get a bunch of numbers. And I think it's just really important as musicians to sort of express that with other people to them, I guess. Yeah.
And I feel like that, being a creator, that if you only do creations to put out, that it would build up, and that you wouldn't be able to express creatively as much as you'd like to.
Mm-hmm. I've written like 300 songs, and I've only put out like 8 or 9. So, and I don't, there's a lot of songs that I write for myself that I don't plan on putting. I just want to, it's my way of like expressing myself. It's my way of, we all have sort of a way of just like putting out all that. For me, that's just writing. So a lot of it's, like I said, just for myself. But and then sometimes it's really good, and I want to put it out. And yeah.
So, in your career thus far, where have you performed in your area? Have you performed out of your area?
I've performed in like Moreton Bay, which is I've done like all the carols, which is more so in the city, and then Creative Generation, which was like a little music TV show, I guess, and I was a featured vocalist on that. So, but I like to keep it local a lot of the time with like my gigs and stuff. But yeah, I've been performing pretty much everywhere in my state so far, but hopefully.
So as far as artists that you could work with, if you had the opportunity to work with, whether it be past or present, do you have any that you'd like to work with?
I would say, obviously she's passed, but or Ellie Goulding. That's another one. I feel like Vancouver Sleep Clinic. She's actually from Brisbane, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, like a lot of different bands that I listen to. Well, like if we could bring back like the 80s, like Bryan Adams and stuff would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Definitely. And when does your single come out? Your new single?
Well, I did have one that just dropped not that long ago, called What I Needed. And then I'm back in the studio. A few singles that I'm sort of putting together at the moment, that I'll be releasing like throughout the year. But I'm hoping to put out an EP like, I said this year, but like now it's this year. Like I'm not prepared at all. So maybe next year. Actually, I will put out an EP, and then, but for now it's just singles. So I'll have about 3 singles that start of the year. It's very soon.
Excellent. Well, listen, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think that your career is going to take off. It's just a matter of time before it does, and when it does, the world better watch out.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too.